Welcome back, Oddballs. Today's episode has it all: preschool tears, no swimming signs, tomato bravery, blueberry madness, and yes, attempted murder. We're peeling back the weird layers of South Jersey, one odd story at a time. Buckle up. This is chaos, commentary, and community. This is the Jersey Oddcast with Joseph F. Berenato, Gabriel J. Donio, and me, Gina Rullo. Hey guys, what a week we've had.
Indeed.
Lots
Yes, we
happening.
have. Yes.
Jam-packed, some would say.
Yeah. Yep, yep. And it looks like we're having an interesting week coming up too.
I'm going to jump right in with what's going on with Reed Preschool. Last week, at the end of the week, I saw a post from Lisa and Sam Seidels where they announced that Reed Preschool will not be opening for the fall school year. This decision affects only Reed Preschool and not Camp Tuscaloosa, which is still going strong. Miss Lisa and Mr. Sam, as they are known to their students, took over Reed Preschool in 2016 from the Del Rennis family. And at that time, there was a need for high quality licensed private preschools. But now there is public pre K at the Hammonton Public School District. And with that, enrollment at Reed began to decline, according to what we know. But Reed wasn't just a school, it was the heart of the town. How many kids do we know that went there? And they worked really hard during COVID to keep the kids engaged. They have been very present at downtown events, Halloween parade, the downtown trick or treat, so many different things, and they've just been very involved. The Lions Club. And this is just an end of a chapter for our town. It's very sad to see. According to the Post, Lisa will continue her passionate advocacy for type 1 diabetes awareness, and she's working on publishing a book, and will always keep working on Camp Tuscaloosa. Sam is hoping to head back to his roots in elementary school education, pursuing a teaching role, and will still remain fully involved in the life and leadership of Camp Tuscaloosa. And of course, they want to thank everyone who has supported Reed Preschool and the Seidels family over the years. It's just a pause in Reed Preschool, but Camp Tuscaloosa will carry on, and kids will continue to have a wonderful summer there. And this was like sad news, an end of an era, if you will. Not that I have had kids that went through Reed, but I've been at different events there, always had a great time, and I was just sad to see this.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you consider how long Reed, through various owners, had been opened and how generations of Hammonton kids went to Reed Preschool. So it's sad to see. It's absolutely sad to see.
Yeah, I feel sorry for the situation. I certainly feel badly for Lisa and Sam, although they are continuing with Camp Tuscaloosa. But the traditions and the many sort of things that people knew about the songs and the lessons of Reed Preschool throughout the decades, and the teachers who taught the students there over during the decades as well, that all gets erased. And in a weird way, it reminded me of what recently happened in Philadelphia with the former Wanamakers, Lord Taylor,
Mm.
and Macy's. That was such a tradition. So much so that they're still keeping the Crystal Tea Room open up there. But that's done, and it's not coming back. And so
Yeah.
I think Reed Preschool, like you guys said, it's a full stop. And Tuscaloosa, Camp Tuscaloosa will go on. But everything associated with that other tradition of that preschool is going to be done, and that's not coming back. And for a lot of people, there's a lot of great memories there. So it is. It's not something you like to see. Put it to you
No,
that way.
certainly not.
Yeah, and I just hope to see Sam and Lisa continuing to give back to the community. They've become such wonderful volunteers, and I hope Sam finds a teaching job at a school of his choice. Kids seem to really love him, and he brings excellent energy to all that he does.
Oh yeah, he's great with kids. You can see that the way he interacts.
Yeah,
And the kids will have a continued interaction with them at Camp Tuscaloosa as well.
absolutely. Gabe, if people are looking to move to Hamilton or South Jersey so they can send their kids to Camp Tuscaloosa, who should they call?
This is fitting because there's, I think, some connections here as well from the long ago days of Camp Tuscaloosa. They should go see Phil Carr at Crowley and Carr Real Estate. If you're looking to buy or sell your home or commercial property in South Jersey, Call Phil Carr, owner of Crowley and Carr Real Estate. Crowley and Carr is the best place in town to find the best place in town. Call them at 609 561 0505 or go to Facebook or Instagram.
Gabe, what's happening in Winslow Township with one of their lakes?
Gina, the lake in question is known as Pembry Lake. It's in Winslow Township, as you said. And there have been, unfortunately, three drownings in the last year. So there's a crackdown on lake swimming because obviously these are tragedies that can be avoided, as officials said. And there's been a published report that kind of talks about, cites Camden County Emergency Management Coordinator Chris Costa, who says, look, it's a former quarry that has steep slopes that can catch people by surprise. And his quote is, some of the drop offs happen very rapidly, maybe 30 feet, maybe even more in some spots that we don't know about. And if you're not a strong swimmer, he said, you can find yourself in harm's way very quickly. So there's been people in there. Last week, a 27-year-old man died. He was drowned. Two other men last August, aged 23 and 24, drowned. So there are many no swimming signs posted around the lake, but the feeling is people need to take them more seriously. And his quote, Costa's quote, is obviously we don't want people in the water. There's a potential there for drowning, especially if you're not wearing a safety vest or anything like that. End quote. So at this point, Gina, they're pressing for more awareness and to make sure that people are not swimming in that lake.
Yeah, that's really sad. And like you said, it's a former quarry. So I think that is part of the issue too. It's not like a lake like Hammonton Lake or some of the other natural water sources. This is a former quarry. So that is probably adding to it. And I'm not very brave anymore. So I don't think I would go near one of these. Have you guys ever gone swimming in one of these places?
No.
No, but I can't swim, so that's definitely a big no for me. But there are a number of old quarries that are now lakes, the famed blue holes that we have. They're all old quarries, and it's all you're warned because of the potential for a steep drop off. Don't go swimming. People do anyway, much against the advice and whatever signs are posted. But people have lost their lives in Weymouth River by the furnace.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
yeah, there are potential hazards in any natural waterway. And yeah,
Joe, do you think we're
Well, that's a
jinxing
good.
you by constantly bringing up swimming activities and water
Yeah.
or
I,
taunting you?
maybe
I'm getting worried now.
you're taunting me, but I don't think you're jinxing me because again, that would require me to go near some natural body of water. Although I suppose in theory, like I could like trip in the bathtub,
Oh,
but
let's not put that in the universe.
well,
well, you brought it up.
you
I mean,
did. Like,
you're
do you
already.
think we're jinxing
Well,
you? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm
yeah. You
feeling
Yeah.
really
open
guilty
with.
to keep having these stories. I'm like, "Ah, sugar."
I
Yeah,
like how
like
Gina opens with a hex, and then
yeah,
yeah, I hope you're okay.
yeah.
You,
I'm just gonna have to try and ward off the evil eye a little
yeah,
bit.
I'm gonna
Um,
lick you.
yeah. See if do we have any of the witches around anymore to take the Maloikia off of me?
Plenty.
There's a
There,
few in
Okay,
town. Yeah, I can
probably
give you a list
in
afterwards.
In
okay,
Hammonton. Sure,
okay.
I'm sure. I
If
was
you're
gonna make
watching this, contact me because she just put the hex on me.
the hex on.
Yeah,
I love it. That's
yeah.
it.
The Maloik, the
Love.
whammy, whatever you want to call it.
One
Okay,
point
let's
I'd like
talk.
to make is that
Yeah.
one point I'd like to make is that what you said, Joe, is very good. These are natural, and I think there is more danger prevalent in a natural setting because you don't really know what could happen or what's on the bottom or
Yeah,
but there is still people should be aware around your swimming pools this holiday coming up. Hey, make sure everybody is ready to swim and there's no problems because it can even happen in a non-natural setting too. So
absolutely.
but I think there's more chance for it, like you said, a blue hole, which is such a Pine Barrens thing to say that's been written about, and or Weymouth furnace. I didn't even think of that. That gets rapid. That could get rapid. So there
Yeah.
you go. Just a little public service announcement before the holiday.
And let's drive down the pike to Egg Harbor City, where a woman there has been charged with something pretty drastic.
Okay, since you asked, if you'll bear with me for one moment, 36-year-old Kelly Feaster of Egg Harbor City was arrested and charged on June 20th in reference to a stabbing that occurred outside of Wawa in Berlin, according to release and according to Camden County Prosecutor Grace C. McCauley and Berlin Township Police Chief Louis Bordy. According to reports, at approximately 2:43 p.m. that day, officers from Berlin responded to the Wawa in the 400 block of Route 73 in reference to a stabbing. Upon arrival, they located the victim, a 35-year-old man, also from Egg Harbor City, suffering from multiple stab wounds in the parking lot. He was transported by helicopter to Cooper University Hospital, where he was in critical condition. According to reports, while on scene, officers located Feaster and took her into custody. The victim and the subject did appear to have been acquainted, and Feaster is being charged with first degree attempted murder, second degree aggravated assault, third degree possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, and fourth degree unlawful possession of a weapon. Anyone with information is asked to contact Detective Felicia Tilton of the Camden County Prosecutor's Office Major Crimes Unit at 856-225-8432 or Lieutenant David Childs of the Berlin Township Police Department at 856-767-5878, extension 235.
That's a big one. And stabbing is very personal according to my research from Criminal Minds episodes.
According to my research when I used to teach at Southwood State Prison,
Yeah, that's a little more intense.
yeah,
Yeah.
Gina's TV watching.
stabbing is intensely personal. Stabbing takes an entirely different kind of person. Firearms assault is comparatively easy. You point and click essentially. But with stabbing, m- most of my students said that if they didn't have a gun and they had to stab someone, they wouldn't have done it. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's very purposeful.
you have to get right up close and personal
Yeah,
and get in there, and it's usually repeated. It's not like most people don't just stab somebody once and then walk away. I
no,
mean,
and
it's seven, eight more. It's a very emotional, visceral act.
and especially to be done in a parking lot
Yeah,
at 2:30 in the afternoon. That was
says something.
something. Yeah.
Yeah. And
So,
we don't know what this backstory is or what was going on.
yeah.
Not that there's any excuse for it, but something to at least help us make sense of it. And we just don't have that
Well,
right now.
but in any event, it did occur, and what's another thing where you say to yourself, we don't know what the run up to that was, but we'll see how this tracks through the courts. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I'm sure we're going to be reading more about it. And in order to read about it, Gabe, Joe, and I all need to wear glasses. And Gabe, where should we go for our eyeglasses or contact lenses?
You should see our friends at Hammonton Family Eye Care. They're the place to go for routine and medical eye care for all ages, from glasses to contacts to eye exams and more. Visit Hammonton Family Eye Care at Peachtree Plaza, 80 South White Horse Pike in Hammonton. Call 609 567 7479 or go to hamiltonfamilyeyecare.com.
Thanks, Gabe. Well, guys, we are just a couple of weeks away from the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and I am so excited. Joe, what is going on, and what do we have any updates for the Oddcast crew out there?
Actually, yeah, we do. The Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society made meaningful additions to the shrine on the corner of 3rd and French Streets last week. According to the Society's vice president, Frank Italiano, 4 memorial stones have been erected around the shrine, featuring the names of all Society members who passed away in good standing, with the names of the 3 founding members, Antonio Capelli, Emmanuel Persico, and Luigi Vuado, enshrined in gold. The stones also feature a prayer to the Blessed Mother on the back of them. And Italiano said that the memorial markers were through Hammonton's Lighthouse Memorials, LLC, whose owner, Brandon Kincaid, is a funeral director at Marinella. And he also said that there is a plaque currently being constructed that will feature the names of every member ever of the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Society from its start to present day. So that is just an absolutely incredible addition for the 150th and something that'll last for generations to come.
And that's what we said at the corner of 3rd and French near the statue, right?
Yeah, yep. At they're behind the shrine, catty corner from the church.
That's
That's a
very special.
wonderful, yeah. that's a wonderful addition. And I just have to note that Lighthouse Memorial's owner, Brandon Kincaid, his grandfather, his birthday was the 16th of July, Jack Marinello. So I'm sure he's smiling down
That,
on the
that's
whole
that.
the whole thing.
That's a nice bit of synchronicity there.
I think.
Uh, I
Yeah.
like that a lot. Well, there is still time to get your Running of the Sandwiches t-shirt from the Oddcast. Joe, how do people get merch if they want to?
If they want merch, we got a lot of it. If they want mugs, we got them. They want tumblers, magnets, they want hats, we got them. T-shirts, like you said, Gina, including our exclusive Running of the Sandwiches design. All profits from now through July 1st, so there's not a whole lot of time left, but all profits through July 1st will benefit the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel, and they can find all of it at jersey-oddcast.printify.me.
That's awesome. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Since we mentioned them already, Gabe, can you tell us a little bit about Marinella Funeral Home, one of our show sponsors?
Yes, it seems only more appropriate to talk about them now. And Marinella Funeral Home has been serving the community since 1962 and has been family owned and operated for 3 generations. Marinella Funeral Home provides individually designed burial, cremation, and pre planned funeral services to meet the needs of each family. Ask them about how pre planning provides true peace of mind to your family. Contact the Marinello Funeral Home, located at 102 North 3rd Street in Hammonton, at 609 561 1311.
Thanks, Gabe. Joe, I read an interesting article about a handyman from Vineland who was arrested, which is like such my worst nightmare when you bring people into your house to do work.
Yeah,
Tell us about it.
you're not the only one. I think everybody has that fear, which is, why when someone says, "I know a guy," you tend to go with that guy instead of a stranger, but this is a perfect reason for that. According to reports, Jeremy Gruber, my apologies, 42 of Vineland, was arrested for allegedly stealing from a home in Brigantine where he did work last summer, and he's also facing charges in Longport for fencing stolen property and in Hammonton for burglary. The theft in Brigantine relates to a home where he was working in August of 24, where he allegedly stole handbags, cash, and jewelry. This investigation led Brigantine police to learn that he was the subject of investigations in other municipalities where he had worked. In the interim, according to published reports, Gruber has been arrested on a number of unrelated warrants, and he has an active burglary indictment from 2024. As of this recording, Gruber is being held pending a detention hearing at the Atlantic County Justice Facility. And anyone with information about Gruber, his crimes, and so forth can call Detective Shane Dugan at 609 266 7414.
Wow, thank you, Joe. That is just horrifying. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah,
always like I don't even know how to express it. Like it's so scary, and especially if you're a woman. I don't live alone, but if you do live alone, I understand it's even worse, that fear having people in there, and there's just such a violation. And how do you feel safe in your home again, I wonder?
It's not something that I think everyone would like to think it'll never happen to me, but I don't think it's something to take lightly ever. Gina, you make a great point, especially if you're living alone. I just think that the best way to protect yourself is perhaps to truly vet who's coming into your house and find a way to really know them before you invite them in, even if they're working, because you never know with somebody who's a stranger. They are literally someone you don't know,
Yeah.
and bad things can happen. So
yeah,
that's
that's one of the good things and one of the perils I think about modern social media, especially in the comments section. Because if somebody, Lord, if you go into the comments section about
well,
any given
anything.
contractor, if somebody moves a cup the wrong way because they have to polish a counter, then you've got 37 people telling you how terrible they are. So you've got to, like you said, you've got to vet it and you got to sift through that. But if I have seen instances where there are substantiated concerns about this business or that contractor, and it's certainly something to consider before you invite a complete stranger to do work in your home, especially if you can't be there to supervise the entire time.
No,
Good point.
that's a great point. On a much lighter note, the library is having a summer reading challenge for adults and children. Gabe, do you have the skinny on it?
I do. As a voracious reader myself, my whole life, I love to read. And this is exciting. So, everybody who's interested in reading for themselves, for their kids, listen up on this. It's the Summer Reading Program 2025 Color Our World. So they say it's like they're actually reaching out to us and saying, "Hey, oddballs," which is great to hear that. If you're looking for a way to keep the kids, or honestly yourself, busy this summer, the Hammonton branch of the Atlantic County Library has you covered with their 2025 summer reading program. This year's theme is Color Our World, and it's open to all ages. Just stop by the library to pick up your reading logs, activity pages, and yes, there are reading incentives. So if you like prizes with your paperbacks, this is your moment. Now, for those with little ones, if your child is under 9, you'll need to stay with them during the program. No drop offs allowed. Think of it as a great excuse to hang out in the air conditioning and read a few chapters yourself. As for the kids, don't miss the bookworm challenge. Here's how it works: every time they read a book, they get to add a circle to their personal bookworm. Each circle has a reward ticket, and when they turn that in to a staff member, they get a prize. Plus, those colorful bookworms will be used to decorate the children's room. So your kid's reading habit becomes part of the library itself. All skill levels are welcome, and everything is free to participate. Just keep in mind that programs are subject to change or cancellation, so it's always a good idea to check in before you go. That's your library lowdown. Happy reading, Hamilton. But let me give you a little bit of detail. They do have that it's essentially, they want to reinforce that children under 9 have to be accompanied by an adult. You have to plan to attend with your child. Essentially, the best thing to say about this is, as someone who's reading at a young age, loves reading, even loves these movies and TV shows like The Librarians, the library is a great, fun, safe place to get together with your kid, especially in summer, and make some memories. So I would highly recommend this program. What do you guys think?
Oh,
Joe?
I love incentivized reading. 100% I love incentivized reading. When we were kids in our school, we had the MS Readathon where for every
Right.
book, you read so many books, and then people would sponsor you and say, okay, for every book Joe reads, we'll donate a dime or something, and then you could get prizes. In other schools, we didn't have Pizza Hut in town, so I don't think we had it. You read so many books and you get a free Pizza Hut pizza. Okay, there's nothing wrong with incentivizing reading. There's nothing wrong with bribing kids. Read this and we'll give you snacks, because I almost, reading is fundamental. I know it's old and hackneyed.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah,
Wow.
bringing it back from the
Why
80s.
why don't you start singing some of the old,
Butterfly in the
yeah, I was
sky.
gonna sing
I
some of
can
I
go
can
that,
twice
go
as high.
fly
Yeah.
or or
in a book.
or go from Reading Rainbow You Two to Schoolhouse Rock. What do you want to throw out there?
Okay, I have a
Conjunction
controversial
Junction.
question. I have a
What's that?
controversial
Okay.
question.
Yes.
Do audiobooks count as reading books?
No.
If you listen
No, not to me.
No,
No.
they count as listening to books. They don't count as reading books because they engage different sections of the brain.
hmm,
There you go.
So,
Mm.
for my money, they do not count
I
as
would
the same.
say,
You may be absorbing the information, but you're not learning the vocabulary as in the same way. Just like writing, hand writing engages the brain differently than typing.
yeah,
So, while it does count as being exposed to work, it does not count, in my mind, as reading for that reason, unless,
yeah,
of course, you were visually impaired.
yeah. And if it helps you, Gina, it's like shoes on guys are actual shoes or sneakers. Sandals are not an actual footwear for
I'm
kids.
going to disagree a little bit because I tend to listen to more audiobooks now because I have a longer commute to work. So I have time in the car. You can't really read while you're driving, it's very frowned upon. So I
I'll
listen to books and I feel like I'm finishing more books. Plus, I've learned how to pronounce words that I did not know how to pronounce.
Oh,
I'll
that's
give you a
always a
go.
peril.
Like the name Hermione from Harry
yeah.
Potter. When I first read it, I'm like, I don't know how to pronounce his name. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay. So I appreciated that. And plus, I feel like you really do pay attention more in some ways If we stick with the Harry Potter theme, like book 4, which I hate the book 4 so much because it's so upsetting, but there's so much more backstory in there that I really think I forgot after reading it. But when I listened to that one, this is the Goblet of Fire, of course.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, there's just so much detail in here and so much backstory, so much information that I need to have to understand the rest of the Harry Potter world. So I just feel like there are some really good benefits.
Oh, I agree. And some people are auditory learners over visual learners. And again, some people are visually impaired. So the actual the process of using one's eyes to read a book is not an option. For me, I don't count it as reading because it engages a different section of the brain. I would put using an audiobook in the same category as watching a movie. But I can certainly understand your point. Why are you
There is
looking at me like
such a
that?
difference between the Pride and Prejudice movie of 2005 and the Pride and Prejudice book. Like they're night and day different.
Oh, I didn't say that one should replace the other by any stretch of the
But I'm saying
imagination.
if you listen to an audiobook, it is generally the entire text. If you watch a movie, many things are dropped.
Yeah.
It's the full experience of the novel.
I'm just
Is, but I don't think the process is the same. Where I agree with Joe is when you're reading a book as opposed to listening to it, it's just not the same active process. It's a more passive process.
yeah.
It just is. You're driving a car when you're listening to the book. Therefore,
Yes.
there's no way you could be as focused as you would be if you were sitting or in bed or whatever you were doing reading a book because you're not doing anything but reading the book.
Yeah, you can listen to a book while you're driving. You can listen to a book while you're cleaning. You can listen to a book while you're doing whatever. It is wildly ill advised to physically read a book while you're doing any of those things.
Agreed.
Like half the people listening to this podcast right now, the oddballs out there, they checked out. They're not completely focused
I
on
think
what
we're
we're
going to
saying.
have to agree to disagree on this topic because we will not find common ground. There's always going to be the odd man out or the odd woman in this case, and it's me.
Like I said, you do make good points. For me personally, it's not the same, but I
Hmm.
understand where you're coming from.
I just totally disagree, but that's me.
Ignoring Gabe, Joe,
As usual,
if our listeners need quality insurance, who should they call?
Absolutely, especially if for whatever reason they decide to read a book while driving, they're going to need quality
God,
insurance.
no, do not do that, oddballs. Do not
yeah,
do that.
yeah. Do not do that. We
Def-
don't. That's not a dare.
no, it is not a dare, but in any event, they should see Diversified Insurance for all their commercial and personal insurance needs. They are a value added firm. They provide unsurpassed service, consult with you to determine your needs, and offer you a choice of insurance plans and programs. They are a value hunter who can find the best combination of coverage, service, and price. Contact them today at 609 567 7771 or visit their website at diversifiedinsuranceofnj.com.
On Tuesday, July 1st, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the New Jersey Division of Taxation is hosting a property tax relief filing event right here in South Jersey. It's happening at the Winslow Township Municipal Building, 125 South Route 73 in Braddock. This event is open to senior homeowners and renters age 65 and older, or anyone receiving federal Social Security disability benefits. Representatives from the division will be on site to help you file your 2024 PAS 1 application. That's your shot at the Senior Freeze, Anchor, or Stay NJ programs. Let me break it down real quick. Senior Freeze, if you were born before 1959 or are permanently disabled and receiving Social Security disability payments as of the end of last year, you may be eligible as long as you lived in your home in both 2020 and 2024 and meet the income limits. Anchor, that's Affordable New Jersey Communities for Homeowners and Renters. Relief is available for homeowners earning below a certain threshold and renters earning below a certain threshold. Again, you gotta read the fine print. Stay NJ is for senior homeowners age 65 and older in 2024 with income under a certain threshold who have lived in their home all year. You may get up to 50% of your property taxes minus what you've already received from Senior Freeze or Anchor. They'll help at this event, they'll help with both electronic and paper applications, and all eligibility info is subject to changes in the state budget. If you want more information or to confirm your eligibility, go to bit.ly/NJ tax events. Help spread the word because keeping more money in your pocket is always a good idea.
Yeah.
Can't argue with that logic.
And Gabe,
No.
you're almost at that point, that age range.
I don't. What's the age range again?
65.
See, I'm not almost at that. I'll be 52 on the 16th of July, like my old pal Jack Marinella. His birthday is my birthday too. But I guess it's only 13 years away. So if you argued that, when I was born, that by the time I was 13, like that seemed like the time, it goes by pretty quickly. So
Yeah.
I guess I better prepare, huh?
Yeah. You better get ready there, Gabe.
Yeah,
Start boning up on the paperwork.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's that, and I guess go find me a nice walker and a rocking chair. Why
Definitely
not?
a
Join.
rocking chair. Yeah.
Maybe you
If I
could
could
go
only,
to I was saying maybe you
what's
could go to
that?
Winslow Township's painting in the park. Do you have any
That's
information on that?
my next thing. But before I do, I will say, look, people already think I'm retired, so
Yeah. You're not.
not. I'm not, but I get it enough, so they already think I'm 65. I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
But yeah, but if I wanted to hang out and paint in the park, I could do that. And this is a nice program. They call it Mayor Lawrence and the governing bodies painting in the park for kids and adults of all ages. And the dates were announced. The time is 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at various locations on various dates. And the supplies are all provided. There's no RSVP required. There's a lot of good things. I will give you the dates and the places. June 25th, it's at the West Atco Civic Association Center in Atco. July 9th, it's at Albion Park. That is in Berlin.
They're
July
gonna be making kites at
23rd.
that one.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a special event. Thank you, Gina, for noting that. Kite making and flying. So that's pretty cool. Since we're talking about birthdays, I'll note July 9th is an interesting birthday. July 23rd, Elm Fire Hall. August 6th, New Brooklyn Park Star Center. August 20th is at Frank Donio Memorial Park. A former mayor for 25 years of Winslow Township, Frank Donio, happened to be my grandfather.
You
And
should go to that one.
yeah, I should paint there, shouldn't I? His birthday happened to be July 9th. So it's not the same day. August 20th. August 27th at the Winslow Municipal Complex. So these are some great dates. Everybody should just go out, and you want to do something fun and it's free. So I think, why not? It's a nice event being put on by the Winslow government.
Yeah, it's free and they provide the supplies. That's
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think, what do you think, Gina? You're crafty.
Oh, I am the world's worst. I think we all did that paint night together. I think we all know mine was the worst. It was very upsetting. I am good with a computer, artsy that way. Not so
Mhm.
good with my free hands. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Lovecraft referred to them as what? Eldritch horrors? Is that what he used to call them, Gabe?
Yeah. I believe that was the phrase or the name. But Gina, listen, you are creative. We all know this, but maybe just not in a crafty way. But this would be fun for anybody, even if you're not. What's the big deal? It's a nice way to get out and have some fun, and it's free. Like I said,
But if
what's
Yeah.
you
the
want, we
what
could
beats free?
pack up a meal and have a little picnic in the park before we painted, and we could get our supplies at Bagley Annie's Market for this picnic.
And there's no better place to pick up fresh food than Bagley Andy's Market in
Like
Hammonton.
cold cuts. Just calling them cold cuts.
Like lunch meat. Settle
Oh, yeah.
down, New York. At Bagley Annie's Market, they always say we treat our customers like family with a variety of custom cut meats, farm fresh produce, delicious cheeses, a full deli, and more. Bagley Annie's Market has something for everyone. They are famous for their wide variety of authentic Italian specialty products. Try their Italian bread and rolls, prepared foods, and homemade pasta. Follow their social media for weekly loyalty reward promos. Bagliani's Market is located at 417 12th Street in Hammonton. Call 609 561 0693 or visit Facebook and Instagram for more information.
Thanks, Gabe. Appreciate that. We're going to stick with you, Gabe, because you've got a big event to tell us all about.
I sure do. And everybody knows where we're heading next on the sort of holiday or event calendar in Hammonton, and that is the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival is the next big tentpole event for the year. And I think everybody, it's one of these things that sneaks up on you. You turn around, you're like, is it that time of year again? And is it really the 39th annual Red, White, and Blueberry Festival? Answer yes. So coming up on Sunday, June 29th, 2025, the blueberry capital of the world, Hammonton, New Jersey, is hosting the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at Hammonton High School. Now, there's free admission, there's free parking, and everybody should just follow the signs to free parking areas at Warren Eastwood Junior Elementary School on 4th Street or Hammonton Middle School at 75 North Liberty Street. There's free jitney shuttles from remote parking. And Rothman is orthopedics is sponsoring the
Hmm.
jitneys, and AMI Atlantic Care Partners in Imaging are sponsoring the 39th annual Red, White, and Blueberry Festival. It's everything that you expect. It's the blueberries, it's the classic car show, it's the crafters, it's the food. You pick
It's
up
the bad
something for
John
everybody.
Rumfalo jokes.
It's John
Yeah.
Rumfalo trotting out the usual John Rumfalo esque humor, which is an acquired taste like a fine blueberry wine from Tomasello's, as John Ruffalo would probably say. But I think that the main thing is there's nothing like it. It's not the Feast of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. It's not Cruising Main Street. It's not one of our many parades. It is its own thing.
Yeah.
And it celebrates, look, our agricultural industry and our number one crop, which is, of course, the blueberry. Joe, I go right to you because blueberry farming, your expertise, maybe you can do two things in one here. I don't know if I'm stepping on any toes, but tell us where the blueberry crop is right now and how it's going, and also tell us what you think of the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, having lived here your whole life and have ties to the blueberry industry.
I haven't heard much about the crop as of late. I do know that it started off strong and that the prices were fantastic, but we have had 2 weeks, give or take, of rain, and we are in the midst of some just oppressively hot weather.
Right.
And I know that when I was a farmer, hot weather following rain did very bad things for the berries on the bush. I haven't heard very much. Farmers tend to stay silent during weather like this for fear that it will bring on more bad weather or they'll jinx them, and then they'll tell you about it at the end of the season. But my fingers are crossed for all of them. Now, insofar as how I feel about the Red, White, and Blueberry Festival, when I was a farmer, I didn't ever have the chance to attend it because I was always working. But before and hence, I enjoy going to it. It's a lot of fun. It really is.
You definitely need sunscreen. I tell everyone
Yes.
that when whoever was working at the paper would be covering it. I'm like, you need sunscreen and a lot of it and lots of water because it's hot out there and it should be. But it's a lot of fun. The music's always good. There's so many crafty people. There's delicious everything, and you're helping out a lot of different
Hmm.
clubs, like the Lions Club or the Women's Civic. So many different groups are out there. And I'm not sure if they're doing it, but the Methodist Church usually sells their delicious blueberry dessert pizzas. I think the day before and the day
Mm.
of the Blueberry Festival. So if they're doing that, also worth stopping over to the Methodist Church and checking those out.
Yeah, and for me, it was always I'm not so much with the crafters, but people love that. But the cars, I
Oh
love
yeah,
seeing the
Yeah.
vintage automobiles, and Cruising Classics Auto Club is there, but also a lot of people are there from all over.
hundreds of cars.
And you just, from whether it was the mid 80s or mid to late 80s, and it was here in the middle of downtown, or successive sites at the now middle school and high school. I just feel like it's such a piece of Americana. You walk out there and you're transported yet again to a time where that most places stopped existing decades ago. I feel that way about this festival. It really is a throwback to they're doing it for 39 years, but there's a beating heart that's doing it the same way they did it 39 years ago.
Yeah.
And you could say that about Mount Carmel as well,
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
which
that's
is really
that's a good point because as many such festivals were fizzling out, this one was just getting started.
yep. Yeah.
For sure.
Just a little bit of history. This festival was created as an event for the sesquicentennial of the county. I think it was the 150th. It may have been the 125th of Atlanta County. Every town was told event, created an event, and people like Ann Llewellyn, Don Lawson, etc., really stepped up and created this event. But as Joe noted, to keep it going for 40 years in this day and age is unheard of.
Yeah.
So, congratulations to John Rumflow and the chamber and everybody involved.
According to Google, Atlantic County was founded in 1837. So
Okay.
1986
Well,
So,
would
then,
be
yeah, the
the
sesquicentennial.
sesquicentennial.
there you go.
Look
All
at you,
right.
Gabe,
Sesquicentennial.
being all smart.
And that these facts are fun because you look back and think to yourself, I remember people talking about it then. And now that, as you guys said, I'm ready for Social Security and all that, you look back over these decades and say,
Yeah,
wow, it's great to know I was there at the start of that. Although
absolutely. Yeah,
it
because
is weird.
you and John Rumfellow can reminisce about the founding of Atlantic County in 1837.
That's right. We were
Yeah.
there. We were there with that Summers guy.
Yeah.
Wasn't he around Summers Point? Jonathan Pitney
So
and
none of
me
us
and John Rum.
none of us are going to ever be in the Olympics, but maybe we could be in the Patio Olympics at the
Oh, I
Piccoli.
absolutely.
Join the Piccoli every Thursday at 6 p.m. for the most elite display of semi coordinated chaos. They have cornhole, flip cup, roll the can, mega pong, and balloon toss. No training is required. Just show up
Clearly.
and show off at 866 Route 206 in Chemung. I feel like this is a sporting event that the three of us might have a chance at. Thoughts?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. You gotta. What's involved? If you, they should hire, not hire. They should get put invitations out to fraternities and sororities throughout this land,
Yeah.
and have them come on out to the Piccadilly for a competition. Like it's pitch perfect now, just with flip cup,
Yeah.
the pong. Why not?
Yeah. Competitive sanctioned flip cup. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and we could do it. I think we could do it. Cornhole is not my best game. I have to admit, I'm not as good at it beanbag as I could be.
So which of those would
At least
I'm
you be
overthrow.
so which of these would each of you be the most successful at if we look at them? Cornhole, flip cup, roll the can, mega pong, or balloon toss?
I'm not quite certain what's involved with roll the can. I imagine it does what it says on the box, but there are probably some manner of parameter along with that. But I used to be pretty decent at flip cup when I was younger, and I'm not all that bad at cornhole. I think we started playing beanbag toss when we were in what, kindergarten?
Yeah.
So that's just running on pure muscle memory for that.
What's balloon toss?
I don't know. Are we
What's
throwing
involved
water
with
balloons
that?
at each other? Because
Yeah.
I have pretty good aim when I need to.
Yeah, I'll bet. Well, you the one throwing them overhand. Although maybe that is how you throw them. I don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to call Bond to find
I
out.
go with I'll go with Megapong. I could probably do okay with that, I think.
Oh my god. Just don't ask me to play Connect 4 because that is the one game I am at the worst at. I have no skill at that game.
Really?
Yeah, horrible. Horrible at it. Just awful.
It doesn't even make sense that you're not good at
I suck at it. I
I
freely
love
admit
Connect
it.
4.
that.
What's that?
Okay. I love it. I love Connect 4.
Oh, I love playing it. We were in
Gina's like,
Mexico and we played like giant lawn size Connect 4 and I lost every game.
yeah, Gina Gina's 3D chess from Star Trek. I got that covered. Connect Four? No, it's my Achilles heel. I can't do it. What? I always think you would say something like backgammon or something like that.
No.
Not Connect Four.
Can
It's
I
like saying,
four?
I really suck at battleship. Is it because you can't line them up? The little,
I just lose.
checkers.
I just lose. It is what it is. We could play later. I gave you one for our anniversary. It's in your
I
office right
know.
over
It's
there.
like I see it, but I don't know. I balance this out by basically being atrocious at every other game known to man. I think I just don't. I check out halfway through the game. That's what the problem is. But listen, I
uh,
still don't understand why you're not good at Connect Four, though.
Look, you can't be perfect at everything. That's all I can say.
Oh, okay.
oh, there we are.
About
Well,
that.
the Patio
Okay.
Olympics, if they grow bigger in size, they may need to call our friends in Demeglio Septic for some of their services. Joe?
Absolutely. Demeglio Septic and Quality Sanitation are here for a variety of services, including septic pump out, grease trap service, high pressure jetting, portable toilets, and more. Call 609-561-3597 or go to demeglioseptic.com for Demeglio Septic or call 609-561-4666 for quality sanitation. Experience the Demeglio difference, a promise of superior service, quality, and reliability.
Thanks, Joe. It is almost America's birthday, celebrating its 249th birthday coming right up. And there's a lot happening. Even in the town of Hammonton, we've got a ton of stuff going on. So let's start. On July 4th at 11 a.m., there will be a bike parade, a patriotic bike, scooter, wagon, and stroller decorating contest. There'll be a patriotic pet contest, music, marchers, and more. And the parade runs along Bellevue Avenue from Egg Harbor Road to 3rd Street. And the lineup will begin after 10 a.m. It's not just bikes, I should rephrase that. It is a for floats, groups, businesses, service clubs, and dance groups. Everybody is welcome to the bike parade. And then later on in the evening, there will be 4th of July fireworks presented by the town of Hammonton. These will be put off at Hammonton Lake Park and they will begin around dusk, 9 p.m. And they're asking people not to park on private businesses, to park where in public spaces, or if you do park at a private business, there may be charges for that. Some businesses may be charging, which is fine. But again, it's going to be a wonderful 249th birthday. And I will just say, I am super excited for the 250th next year. So, should be a lot of fun to have
It's
happen
gonna be
on the
big.
4th
Oh,
of
yeah.
July in Hammonton. Joe, what's going on around the area?
Oh, there's quite a bit, but here are a couple. There will be two fireworks displays in Atlantic City. The first will be at Ocean Casino Resort at 9 p.m. with a drone show, and the second will be at Tropicana Casino and Resort at 10 p.m. So if you stand somewhere around Bally's or Caesars in the boardwalk, you can catch them both from one place. Just turn one way and then turn the other way, and you're good. In Camden, the Freedom Festival on the Camden waterfront will be held at Wiggins Park on July 4th, and that'll feature Matt Cappy and friends at 6, and then Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees, the Spinners, will be at 8 p.m., and the fireworks will be around 9:30. And as one would expect, there will be a huge fireworks display in Philadelphia for the 4th of July. Following the Wawa Welcome America concert featuring LL Cool J and Jasmine Sullivan, fireworks will be shot off on the Ben Franklin Parkway at the Art Museum around 9:30. And then in Monroe Township, they'll have theirs at dusk at Owens Park on Tuckahoe Road. And then additionally, the next day, July 5th at 11 a.m., Monroe Township will be having an Independence Day puppy parade at the Monroe Township Dog Park. And for questions, you can call 856-728-9841. And I'm all about doggies. I just think they're the cutest things that have ever roamed the earth. So I think that'll be fun.
It's very
I
nice that
I'm
they get
partial to
everybody
doggos
involved.
too,
I
so
think,
I think that's will be fun too. Gabe, I'm sorry.
yeah. No, I was going to say it's nice to get everybody involved. They get the kids involved, both in Hamilton and all these other places to get all generations, even the pets. The dogs have a little parade. If I think that's what the founding fathers wanted, a puppy parade. I think they said, you know what, fireworks and maybe a parade of dogs. Why not?
Yeah, I can see some of them. I can absolutely see some of them thinking that would be cute. I don't know that John Adams necessarily would have gone for a dog parade, but
Ben Franklin would have.
I think so. Maybe Caesar Rodney.
Mm.
we'll get to this later in the show, but in the Oddcast, but there's a dog in 1776. I'm pretty sure, just lying out. There's a dog.
Yeah, in the streets of Philadelphia.
You're right.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's so that takes place, of course, during when the
Joe, do you have
the
any 4th of July
Declaration of
traditions?
Independence being
I'm still trying to come up with new ones because for 40 years my tradition was packing blueberries. As my grandfather was fond of saying whenever anybody asked, "Hey, are we having off on the 4th of July?" There's no holiday on the farm. I'm still trying to come up with something. I realize now that this marks, oh heavens, I think 2018 was my last year farming. Good Lord, has it been that long already? Okay, and I'm back.
goes by, Joe.
It does. It goes by fast. But
Soon you'll be 65 as well.
yeah, I think there's a Beatles song, When I'm 64.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be there soon. Not yet. But no, not really. I do watch 1776 and I'll often watch Yankee Doodle Dandy.
Mm.
There you go.
Huge James Cagney fan. And even though the movie isn't necessarily completely historically accurate to the life of George M. Cohan, love that film. Like those are my traditions.
Gabe,
That's
what
good
were your
stuff. I
childhood
mean,
4th of July traditions?
we would go to my aunt Juliet Falciani's house on the lake and on Central Avenue, and we'd go a group of us from my mother's side of the family, which would be your Falcianis, your Belazzos, your Berenatos, that crew. Sometimes Peleas, not always there because they had a birthday on the 4th of July, and another cousin of mine.
Yeah.
Born
Um,
on the 4th of
he
July.
was, yeah, it's a true story. But so anyway, we get together. They would have fireworks, meaning the town over the lake. You could see them, and then it was in the evening that we started watching on Fox. Well, it's not yet Fox 29, Channel 29. 1776 was played every year on the 4th of July by the Philadelphia affiliate, Channel 29.
TAF TV 29, a
That's
Taft
right.
station.
You got a Taft station. Wow, so
Well,
true. And they would play that, and that's how
Yeah,
we were
and
introduced to that musical.
yeah, and Gabe, you introduced me to that musical 20 some odd years ago,
Eight.
ourselves. And I really did fall in love with the campiness of it. It is so cheesy, but I love every second of it.
Oh,
And let's talk about it. I
kind of
mean, it is the original Hamilton, if you will. I mean, Lin-Manuel Miranda has said that musical inspired him to
sure.
create another musical about a founding father, but there's something oddly like comforting about 1776, and you feel more patriotic and just some way about our nation after watching that movie.
I don't
Yeah.
know that I would necessarily agree that it's campy. Okay, maybe Richard Henry Lee is a little over the top,
He is
but
camp.
Well, Franklin's a little over the top too.
He's a
Ben
little bit gouty
Franklin
in the
was a
leg.
little over the top.
Yeah, yeah, he was in life. What
Yeah,
I think is great about it is the people inhabit these roles to the point where I feel that's pretty much how John Adams looked. Like William Daniels, Dr. Craig from Staying Elsewhere slash Mr. Feeney from Boy Meets World.
Yeah.
He's John Adams in
yeah.
my head because they really did throw. They had all come over from Broadway. They had played a lot of the characters a lot of the actors in the movie had come over from Broadway, and they really inhabited those roles and had played them a long time. What's his name? Again, I'm sorry for not remembering the actor's name, but the guy who played Colin Holling Vancour on Northern Exposure is Rutledge. He's
Oh, yeah. I don't know that actor's name, but he was on Northern
John
Exposure.
Cullum?
right. There you go.
Yes, he was on Mad Men as the president of Lucky Strike.
Yes.
He played a judge in a number of things, and every time I see him, he's Edward Rutledge, 100%.
Yeah, and Ken Howard, who was famous for The White Shadow, the basketball
Oh,
show in the
wow.
70s. He was Thomas Jefferson
Yeah,
in 1776 in the
and
movie. We're talking about the movie,
and
everybody.
Blythe Danner was his wife, correct?
Yes, Martha. And here's
Yes.
the deal with that. She looks
Oh,
like a
Martha.
young Gwyneth Paltrow because
Well,
she's Gwyneth Paltrow's mother.
Yeah, there's a good reason for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Abigail, whoever Abigail Adams is well played. Everybody, there's a lot of good stuff, and it really does get into, especially if you watch the extended 1776, the director's cut.
Oh
You
my
get
god.
into all the would you call it, the this is what Congress is still,
Oh
you know,
God,
the
yeah.
bantering back and forth and trying to arm twist and get what you want. It's a great, if you like anything about, if you want to know anything about history in a fun way, 1776 is a great way to be introduced to a version of how the Declaration of Independence got written.
And
What do you guys think?
if I'm not mistaken, the two of you saw the revival in the '90s with Brent Spiner as John
I did.
Adams. Oh, you
My
did.
brothers and I did.
Okay,
Gina did not.
Who did we
and
see
Pat
it?
Hingle.
Okay, when we saw it
We
on in
saw
New
it with.
York, we saw it in New York, and
It
my
was
brother's.
not with Brent.
Okay, he wasn't there then. Okay,
Yeah, but who was it with? I don't think he was there then.
Okay,
I
because
forget who was where. I know my brothers and I saw Brent Spiner. Maybe we did. We definitely saw 1776.
because
Your point, Joe, is
is that the revival I think might be my favorite recording of it because I love Brent Spiner as Adams and I love Pat Hingle, who is probably best known to modern audiences as Commissioner Gordon in Batman, Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. And I've never seen it in person and I would love to see it. And I think Franklin might be one of my favorite musical characters of all time. And I'd give my eye teeth for the opportunity to be able to play that character. I can't imagine how fun that must have been in person.
we Gina and I saw. I'm trying to think who was in the cat. I'm sure we can look it up if we figure out what year we went.
we saw
But
it
with
in
my brothers
Philly
and
and
I
in
went.
New York.
Was it in '98?
I don't remember.
So in '98 is I think when we saw Spiner in it.
I,
I think.
I'd
I
have to ask
think.
my brother when he was dating that girl, because that's who we met her that night, and we went out to the Howard Johnsons. I think
Yeah.
afterwards.
You think he wants to revisit that right now? I mean, that's how we're gonna go after this.
I
Hey,
don't know how else
remember
to
that
track it
girl?
down when we saw it. We watch 1776 every year. Do you watch it from beginning to end, or do you watch your favorite songs?
Oh no, beginning to end. Have to watch from beginning to end.
Yeah, see, he's
No, you don't.
I I have
You
done
can
both.
No,
I
no,
have
no,
done both.
no. I watch it start to finish, and it's funny because usually around that time it inspires interest in that era. After that, last year I watched the John Adams miniseries on HBO with Paul
Which is
Giamatti.
great. That's great.
excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's another kind of cool thing because his father was a literary guy, a historian, obviously president of Yale, baseball commissioner, A. Bartlett Giamatti. I am sure he would have loved seeing his son play John Adams
Oh yeah.
had he had lived. But I think it's all these things that come together with this movie to me that it's like one of this. I don't know how to say it, but one of the things that strikes me is that it keeps coming back and it keeps being revitalized. And I'm amazed that I said, let me look online. Let me see if there's something new. I just did this just now. And I'm looking at this, and there's no way that this could be possibly true. But it says here William Daniels, Brent Spiner to both return to
April,
1776
April
as
1st joke. It's an April 1st
Uh,
joke.
it's a April Fool's joke. Okay. So,
because Bill Daniels is like 98
yeah,
now.
it can't be. It can't be. What's
No.
great about it? That they would even make the joke. It
Yeah.
just shows you in 2025. This is a musical that came out in the late 60s.
I think it came out in 72 or 73.
Met the original play, but
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
the play I thought was the late 60s, maybe. And I'm almost positive because and there's a reason I say that.
1969.
Even if thank
Oh,
you.
okay.
Okay,
I stand corrected.
it's
You're
okay.
sitting.
Here's the reason I'm bringing it up. It was brought. This was put together in the Vietnam era
Yeah.
for a reason. It was a very tremendously divisive time in the country, and this was a way of saying, look, we as a nation started. It wasn't easy, but it came together. But if you're sitting there in 69, 70, 71, 72, I think it has a whole it hits a whole different way back then because of the era you're in. of the Vietnam era. So just to throw that out there,
But I will say this,
to
from April to May of next year, the Walnut Street Theater Company is going to be producing a show of 1776.
that's
So
a
Ooh.
you
fact,
can't see it
right?
in Philly. That is not April Foolsy. That is happening.
And I
So
would
that
call
is,
that inspired timing.
Oh,
yeah. And
yeah, that's absolutely purposeful.
Yeah, why not? That's inspired. And I tell you what, it'll be inspiring again to a whole new generation of fans and the fans like us who want to go see it because we'll sit there and say, wow, look, this is it. This is what the country, this is how the country got started.
Yeah, and then
Which,
we'll maybe trot over a couple of blocks and go see Independence Hall.
yep,
Real quick, I think my favorite story from Independence Hall, since we're talking about the 4th of July in 1776 and so
yeah,
forth, 10, 15 years ago, a friend of mine from Great Britain was touring the country,
okay.
and he stopped in Philly. And he's, can you show us around? Oh, absolutely. So we went to Independence Hall, and I'm like, and this is where we signed the Declaration of Independence to overthrow the control of the monarchy. Sorry about that. My apologies. And then let's walk over here. Here is a statue of a great Revolutionary War general who was in charge of beating back the British forces. Again, I'm sorry about
Yeah,
that. And over
I
here
know.
we have the Liberty Bell that was rung with the signing of the Declaration to show that we were no longer under control of the king. So sorry. Had a great time doing that.
Yeah, that must have been great. Did at any point did you say when we threw off the yoke of the British Empire? Oh,
I actually may have used that phraseology. I
good
may
for you.
have.
Gabe has a
I think
story from
anytime.
the other side, from the British side.
I think we went. We were in.
It's
Let's
London.
see. We were in London, yes, but I'm saying we were in the halls of Parliament, taking a tour of the halls of Parliament, and so they know they had would have American tourists there. What did they keep in Victoria Tower of the halls of Parliament? Everything
Law.
on vellum. Every law that's ever been is handwritten because this is what the Brits do all day. So we're looking in a case, and they say, "Oh, anyone here from America?" Because they want to set it up. And we're like, "Oh yeah, we're from America. This is the Stamp Act. This is the act that caused all the trouble. Just so you know, it was repealed." So I don't know. And they're waiting for us to be like, "Oh, so you know what?" I wanted to say to them, my father-in-law's famous line at a time like that would be, "Yeah, no backsies. We're done. You gave up an entire continent, pretty much, over something stupid, and now you want to make a little joke about it. We guess what? You get this moment, we get the Louisiana Purchase,
Yeah,
so
because
we
it's
win.
like we always have one on display, and this one is a stamp act, and I'm like, okay, don't be ugly American, don't be ugly American, just behave. You know what I mean? So we did, we behaved, which was hard for us, you
Yes,
know.
yes, I can see that. Yeah.
But we have gone off base here. If we are having a backyard
Again,
barbecue, perhaps we want to have a nice fence for that. Who should we call, Joe?
For backyard barbecues or to keep out the British, there's no one to call but Master Wire Fence. For more than 40 years, Master Wire Manufacturing Fence Company has been providing the South Jersey and tri state area with residential and commercial fence supplies and services. Whether you're looking for quality products to do it yourself or are in need of a trustworthy fencing company to install your fence, they've got you covered. Masterwire Manufacturing Fence Company provides the highest quality products and customer service to each and every person who walks through their doors or gives them a call. Contact Masterwire at 609 567 1616 or visit their website at masterwirefence.net.
Thanks, Joe. Gabe, there's a lot happening. Can you tell us what's happening with the Rocco's Townhouse community calendar?
sure, and I want to remind everybody out there that Rocco's Townhouse prides themselves on being a spot where everyone can meet and eat. Delicious appetizers, entrees, burgers, and more, along with a full bar and plenty of craft beers on tap. Remember, everyone meets at the Townhouse, 21 North 3rd Street in Hammonton. Call them at 609 561 9384 or visit roccostownhouse.com. And now the Rocco's Townhouse community calendar. come to Rocco's Townhouse after heading to meet local author Rochelle DeSorte at her book signing and meet and greet on Saturday, June 28th from 1 to 4 p.m. at J. Jill at the Promenade on Route 73 in Marlton. Stop by, say hi, and grab your copy of The Roller Coaster, signed by the author herself. Also of note, love kittens, love yoga. Join Forge Soul Fitness and the South Jersey Regional Animal Shelter on Saturday, July 12th at 11:30 a.m. for a playful, adoptable kitten yoga session at 103rd North Egg Harbor Road in Hammonton. No experience needed. Just bring your mat and your heart. Register now and support a perfect cause. Cool down for a cause. Join the Hammonton Fire Department, Drug Alliance, and Rita's on Thursday, June 26th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Rita's on the White Horse Pike. Snag giveaways, meet your local heroes, and know that 20% of your sweet treat supports our firefighters all summer long. Bust out the leg warmers and tease that hair. It's time to go back to the 80s. John Alicia's five-star dive bar in Atco on Friday, June 27th, will host a rad night of retro jams with DJ Rich spinning all your favorite throwbacks. It's going to be totally tubular. More information about these events can be found online. Gina?
This is an excellent selection of events, Gabe. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with all of them.
Me
But let's
too.
jump into the odd poll question of the week. I love these. This week's question has to do with what do we think is the most Hamilton thing you've ever done? Is it arguing over the best pizza in town? Who has the best local pizza? Sitting through a council meeting just for the drama? Getting stuck behind a tractor on Pleasant Mills Road? Or having one of those car window conversations while blocking traffic on a small side street? Or even if you did it on Bellevue Avenue? What is the most Hamilton thing you've ever done, would you say, based on those choices?
Oh, yeah, no, I'd have to say car window to car window. You hang out with your arm on the side of the door and people are honking and you're just waving at them while you're continuing your conversation because that's it. That's Hamilton. So I'm going to go with that 100%.
Gabe?
Besides what we're doing right now, you mean? Because this is probably the most Hamilton thing I've ever done. And I used to own the local newspaper at one point,
Yeah.
but this is way more Hamiltonian than that. No, the council meetings for me, I years ago, not recent years, but like going to a council meeting, seeing everybody. Particularly, I will cite a particular annual event, which was the organization meeting. Now that is like a throwback to at one time it was a throwback to the New Year's honors where you'd have that everything handed out. And we've talked about that before. But everybody knows everybody to begin with in Hamilton. But then you're a bubble within a bubble when
Yeah.
you're dealing with local government, and everybody knows everybody even more. Yeah, that's it for me. The let's call it the organization meeting, which used to be when it was on Jan 1, and everybody wished everybody a happy New Year ad nauseum. It's great, and that's when they carve up the power.
I think for me, not being from here, it's getting stuck behind a tractor on a slow moving road like Pleasant Mills Road and just being like, oh my God, am I going to be stuck here forever? I'm aging. I'm going to, you know what I mean? As we go down Pleasant Mills Road. And you don't want to be rude because you know it's a grower and they're busy and they can only go so fast. So you're just sitting there, okay, I'll just take forever. I'll listen to my audiobook and make it through 5, 6 chapters before I get back to the White Horse Pike. You know what I mean? Or out to Batsto, wherever, whatever direction I may be heading. So for me, it's getting stuck behind a tractor. But to be fair, I think
Now,
we've
see,
all argued about who has the best pizza in town. Like we have had those arguments, all of us.
yeah,
Oh,
and I've been on both sides of that tractor, and I've got to tell you, I always enjoyed being in the tractor holding up traffic. Always got a kick out of it because I mean, going full speed, the tractors that we had went maybe 13, 14 miles an hour. So
You're a jerk.
we're just Yeah,
So you liked holding everyone up? You actually are saying that you liked holding everyone up?
I enjoyed the people who would get aggravated. And I'm like, sir or ma'am, you're on, you're in farm country. You're going to experience tractors.
Okay.
This is
Oh,
the
that
Garden
okay.
State.
'Cause I had a whole different version of you as some just power mad
Yes, that's where
guy,
my head went.
like driving the thing at 14 and like the you just wait back there.
Well, I would wave at them as they drove by
Yeah.
and gave me the finger, but
See, that's a nice Hamilton moment, isn't it?
Oh
maybe a
my
little
god.
tip of the hat.
LA has the freeway. We have what would that be? Like is that Fire Road or what road?
Yeah.
Service Road.
Service road, this
Service Road.
especially on Second Road up there.
Yeah,
There's tractors, there's
right.
farms all over Second Road. So if you're in a hurry, avoid that one at all costs.
Absolutely.
But
When we
so
Oh
get
my
our
yeah.
god.
oddball one helicopter for the traffic report for you, that's what we'll do that.
Gabe, there's registration coming up for Hammonton Stick Chicks. Can you give us some information on that?
I can. And sports are such a huge part of the Hamilton culture. And it hasn't changed, especially for field hockey, which I think is such a tradition in town. Stick Chicks registration, this is for students entering K through eighth grade for the 2025 2026 school year. They'd like you to register through Team Snap. It's a $180 registration fee, includes game jersey and socks, a reversible penny, and insurance fee. 7-8 tryouts will be the week of August 11th. Practices start week of August 18th, 6 to 8 p.m., 2 nights per week. Season ends the last week of October. Now, games are played on Saturdays for K through 2 and 3, 4, grades 3, 4, and Sundays for grades 5, 6, and 7, 8.
Okay.
Registration will close Friday, July 18th. And for more information, you can contact Tammy Hanson at tmschaefer589 at gmail.com.
Thanks, Gabe. I appreciate that. And we've been to a couple of Stick Chicks games. They're a lot of fun. The girls look like they're having a blast, and it's a good feeder program for our high school system. So it's exciting to see. Gabe, can you tell our listeners about United Roll Off, one of our sponsors?
Of course I can, Gina. Thanks for asking. Looking for fast, reliable dumpster service? Call United Roll Off Service and Recycling LLC. Family owned by the Grasso family and proudly serving South Jersey since 1999. 3 generations strong, United Roll Off is your local solution for household cleanouts, construction debris, concrete, and yard waste with 11, 20, and 30-yard dumpsters ready when you need them. Serving Hamilton and all of Atlantic, Burlington, Camden, Cumberland, and Gloucester counties, they've got the size, service, and local touch you can trust. Visit them at 735 Wilsey's Mill Road, Hamilton, or call 609 561 8287 to get started today. United Roll Off, local, loyal, and ready to haul.
Thanks, Gabe. So on June 28th, 1820, Colonel Robert Gibbon proved that tomatoes were not poisonous by eating a tomato on the steps of a courthouse in Salem, New Jersey. Did people think they were poisonous? I didn't know this until I did some research this weekend. I was like, wow,
Oh yeah.
that is absolutely crazy.
Yeah, people for a long time thought they were poisonous, but modern scientists and historians believe the reason they thought they were poisonous was because, if I'm not mistaken, of the cookware that they used.
Explain.
Because of the acidity in the tomato, there are certain pots, certain pans that you cannot use with tomato sauce, with vinegar, and so forth, because it will create an adverse reaction and poison you. And so a lot of cookware back in the day was affected by high acidic foods, fruits, and so forth. So people would get sick. So they thought that it was poisonous.
I didn't know this. I was just like, how could you think a tomato? It's so good for you. Like, how could you
Well,
think
I
there's
mean,
anything wrong with it?
especially because it was several centuries that they believed that they were poisonous. Very well could have also come from maybe somebody had an allergic reaction to a tomato and they're like, oh no, Luigi died. They must be poisonous. But no, it was usually
Never
the
know.
cookware.
It makes you wonder how many people had to bite into how many poisonous things before somebody said, "Yeah, you know what? Now that like literally 127,000 people have died, maybe we're just going to say that you shouldn't chew on that particular bark."
And we still do that. There are things that if you eat in large quantities will kill you, but a little bit's okay. Like nutmeg in large quantities, I'm pretty sure is poisonous. Brazil nuts in large quantities, because I think they have selenium in them. They'll kill you, but a little bit here and there, it's not too bad.
Is that, are we
Yeah,
living
yeah.
life
I
on the
mean,
edge then? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Why
I
not?
think certain foods will kill you over time if you don't engage in any kind of moderation. Cheeseburgers. If you eat enough of them,
Oh yeah.
they're not poisonous, but you are going to absolutely check out because you shouldn't be eating like, let's say, 50 cheeseburgers a month per
So
se.
in
You know,
a
time I had
way,
to
we
live my
should
life.
really credit
Okay.
this guy. We should really credit this colonel for the popularity of the Jersey tomato. He deserves a lot of love for this. Or am
What was
I
that gentleman's last
overreaching?
name again?
Gibbon?
Gibbon. No,
Gibbon.
I don't think you're overreaching. I think he's a hero.
So should there, I wonder if there's a variety that's named for him. I'm gonna have to call some
I don't know.
growers. Call
Should
some
call
veggie
the
growers.
people down in Cedarville. Where is it?
Isn't that Cedarville?
A lot of the tomato
Mm,
people. Is that Cedarville
I think so.
or
What's in,
Landisville? Tomato people.
oh,
Tomato
I
growers
I
is the
know there
word
used
he's
to be
looking
a
for, not
no, no,
tomato
him and
people.
actual tomato people. Yeah,
Did people
that
with tomato heads.
yeah,
Come on.
that's a movie waiting to happen. That's
It
so
already happened. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
yeah, but
Isn't that what we're talking about right now?
they weren't people with tomato heads. They were actual tomatoes that would roll towards you, and
Never saw the movie.
you're
That's what I
missing out.
missed. How bad.
Yeah, it
It's
was
no 1776.
no, but it was wonderfully terrible, and it was followed up by an Atari game that was a knockoff on it. Yeah, I don't know if you remember Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes.
No.
No? Gabe, you don't remember that? Oh, yeah, that was
No,
Revenge of the Beefsteak Tomatoes. They were tomato vines that would grow up and you would have to spray them with weed killer and eventually they would come and they were big angry tomatoes. It was a good time.
I don't know. I know one thing. I know people who gardened and wanted to keep giving you tomatoes. That was a horror movie. Here,
Oh,
look at all the squash I have for you.
yeah, God, that was so common and that almost doesn't happen anymore. Like you just come home and find a random plastic bag on your porch filled with
Right,
zucchini and
right,
cucumbers and peppers.
right.
Tomatoes. You'd be
Mr.
like, who the hell is this
Delaney.
from?
Yeah,
Mr. Delaney would do that for me every summer.
Yeah.
yeah. He would bring you. That's right. Larry would chop stuff up to Gina.
Like big
That's right.
bags of
And
I,
produce he would grow.
yeah, like
it was always very nice, and he was always very clear that it was for Gina.
okay, don't touch this. Yeah,
Right,
not for
right.
you.
Not for you. You
Yeah.
come into the offices. Hey, Mr. Delaney. Hello, I'm here to see Gina with her produce. Okay.
The
That's
Hammonton Film
great.
Club is open for the season and they're having some dive-in movies on Wednesday nights. They mentioned on their Facebook page that they're having Jaws, but they didn't put the date on that. But June 25th, according to Facebook, they're having, according to their website, they're having Moana 2, and July 2nd, they are showing Minecraft the movie. It's free for members and $10 per person otherwise. The movies are shown at dusk, and of course, that is weather permitting. I think that's so much fun. It's a good way to cool off, hang out, watch a good movie. Obviously, you're not paying attention fully because you're hanging out in a pool with a bunch of your friends. Entry begins at 8 p.m. and it's just a neat little event
Mo-
that they have.
yeah, Moana, I
Moana
get.
2.
Moana 2. Jaws? Who's coming to watch that?
I just saw that movie for the first time last weekend, and it was
Yeah,
excellent. Big fan, huge. It was really
right.
great. I can see what all the hype is about all these years.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you this: you're bobbing up and down at the Hammonton Swim Club in the pool, and they get to toward the end.
Yeah.
Who's watching? Are there going to be like 10-year-olds in the pool
I
Yeah,
watching?
don't
and
know, like, I don't know, they said
that's a
they were
good
having
question.
it, but I don't know if they were just being funny, and I called a couple of people in the swim club, they have not gotten back. But I will
Okay,
tell
I
you
so we're
mean,
not
this,
because,
sure.
like, I would
Mhm.
I was gonna say this, I would not mind watching Jaws in a swimming pool, but the Sweetwater Marina and River Deck is having
Yeah,
it on July 3rd on the Mullica
really.
River, and it
But
says,
there's
"Bring your
no,
float and your courage."
yeah, but
No.
there's no great white sharks in the
No.
Mullica River,
No,
but
no, no.
there
to
are
my knowledge.
jerks everywhere, and that's where I was going. Like, I hope the one at the swim club, if it is going to come to pass, is age restricted or something, because Lord knows if I
Yeah,
were a child,
no,
because
that
I was
I
a jerk when
don't
I was a
don't,
kid.
but yeah, don't give it
Go
away.
underwater during the big scene and tug at somebody's ankle.
Yeah,
Oh, I'd have a ball with that.
yeah. But I'm speaking specifically. I'm speaking specifically on of the horrific death that is on screen.
Yeah.
That maybe they might want to think about, that maybe it's not a great way for a kid to end a summer evening.
I don't
How
know,
old were
but
you when you first saw Jaws, Gabe?
I don't know, younger than that, probably.
Yeah, I was like 5 or 6 the first time I saw Jaws.
Yeah, but you were in a movie theater,
how's it
I was I was at
or you were
I
at
was in my
home.
living room.
You're in a
Yeah.
living room. You weren't in water.
No. Well, no, that's just, "Oh, yes, we're at the showers at the Y, we're showing Psycho." No, we're not doing that.
No, I think it's a great idea. Let me say this. I think the films are a great idea. I just think somebody better watch Jaws before they put it on. And
I think it's
maybe they haven't
inspired.
seen it.
I think it's inspired.
I'm
Yeah.
Again,
just saying,
I would never do
I
it. I would never watch it on the Mullica. I would probably watch it at the swim club because I know there's no way of a
yeah.
shark getting into that water. You cannot prove to me that you can't get a shark up the Mullica River. Sorry. I believe that can happen.
One one does not find too many sharks in fresh water,
Too many.
so I
One is too many.
Good point.
okay, alright, you know what, and that'd probably be your luck. You're like, "Okay, I'll just,
Well,
la la la
again,
la."
we wish
Oh.
everyone well with these events. We're not
And once
trying
again,
to.
we're bringing up swimming events with Joe. I just think this is bad luck of
Yeah,
us.
Right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And now we're adding sharks to the mix.
Snakes on a
Sharks.
plane. That's all I'm going to
Yeah.
say.
And what is next? Moray eels.
Well,
It's
Joe,
like,
will there be good weather on June 25th for the movie night? What's our weather looking like?
Since you asked, it sounds like it is time for the Oddcast forecast, according to the app on my smartphone, and sponsored by Ben Castone Landscaping. Call Ben Castone for all your landscaping needs at 609 561 3452. They're here to keep your yard looking great no matter what the season. And this year, Ben Castone Landscaping is celebrating its 25th anniversary. Ben Castone thanks his customers, family, and friends for all their support and is looking forward to many more years of service. So, if you were asking specifically about the 25th, it's going to be a good day to jump in a pool because hot. Just like it's been hot, it's going to continue for a little while longer. We are currently looking at a high of 99 and a low of only 75, so not a whole lot of relief there. Thursday, the 26th, we are looking at a high of 91 and a low of 69 with the potential for thunderstorms in the evening. And then on Friday, June 27th, the most important day of the year, we are
I don't know.
finally going to have some relief. You're welcome. The high will only be 85 and a low of 71, although there is the potential for thunderstorms in the morning.
Joe, what is June 27th? Can you tell us more about that special day?
I can. It is a day that is almost perfectly spaced from Christmas. It is only 2 days shy of maximum present potential. And it also happens to be the birthday of one of the greatest people known to man, Topher Grace. Also, it's my birthday.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
You and Topher.
Yeah.
It's-
And Helen Keller, 90 years prior to me.
oh, that's interesting.
June 27th, 1888, Helen Keller.
Like you, she also had limited vision. So
Yes.
you have that
Yes.
in common.
Oh
We do
my
have that
god.
in common. Yeah.
Happy birthday coming up to Joe. Pretty exciting.
One year closer to joining the canoe club.
Yeah.
That's right.
Only 3 more years after this one. So
That's right.
That's awesome.
counting down. Yeah.
Joe, if the oddballs want to get in touch with us, what are the best ways to do that?
For more information or for sponsorship opportunities, email us at jerseyoddcast@gmail.com. Call us at 609 444 6178. Listen to us on YouTube or your favorite podcast service, or visit our website, jerseyoddcast.com.
Thanks, Joe. And thanks, Gabe. This has been a really fun episode. I'm really looking forward to kitten
Yes.
yoga. We'll be back
Me
next
too.
week. We'll be back next week with more chaos, commentary, and community because someone's got to do it. Have a great week, everybody.
Take care.